Xiao Yan's chaos. Great Monarch Flame can create the 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flame, triggering a deadly internal clash between two supreme flames that could kill him if he's too weak. Sacred Monarch Flame. 3,000 Thunder Monarch Flames. Xiao Yan was startled. He looked thoughtfully at the Chaos Great Monarch Flame in Yi Tianqian's hand. Within the Chaos Great Monarch Flame, there seemed to be a small, faintly discernible lightning dragon swimming about. 3,000 lightning monarch flames. Is it also a type of monarch flame? After thinking for a moment, a light suddenly flashed in Xiao Yan's heart, and he hurriedly said. Yi Tianqian gave Xiao Yan a strange look and said, "You don't even know this." Seeing Xiao Yan smile bitterly and shake his head, Yi Tianqian immediately looked at the latter unhappily and said, "There are many sacred objects in the great world. Every sacred object is born from the condensation of the natural essence. They are extremely powerful, and these sacred objects have weapons. Clothes, armor, flames. The Monarch Flame was one of the 12 most powerful sacred objects in the great world. There were currently 36 types of flames that existed in the heavens and earth, and the Monarch Flame was the total name of all flames that were born from the heavens and earth. This also gave rise to the Monarch Flame ranking, which was ranked 32nd on the Chaos Great Monarch Flame ranking. The 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flames were ranked 27th. According to the legends, if all the Monarch Flames were gathered together, if it was forged into a sacred item, then its power. It can destroy the entire heavenly calamity domain, Yi Tianqian said with mixed emotions. Xiao Yan was also shocked by what he heard. He never thought that there would be a Monarch Flame ranking similar to the alien flame ranking in this world, and he never thought that the Chaos Great Monarch Flame would only rank 32 on the ranking. However, not only do you have the fire source of 3,000 Thunder Chaos, Great Monarch Flames in your chaos. Great Monarch Flame. It also seems like it hasn't fully transformed into a true Chaos Great Monarch Flame. Its strength is too weak. No matter how strong the flames on the Monarch Fire ranking are, they can't be compared to it. However, your Monarch Flame is only equivalent to an 8-star Dao Di. It is truly a disgrace to the name of the Monarch Flame. Yi Tianqian's stern words were heard by everyone. Initially, he thought that the strength of the Xiao Yi had reached the level of an 8-star Dao Di. Even if it was the end of the 8-star Combat Emperor, he didn't think that it would become even stronger. Thinking about it, it made sense. As one of the sacred items of the great world, how could it only have such a tiny bit of strength? A layer of fiery heat quickly surged into Xiao Yan's eyes. He asked Elder Yi, "Do you have a way to completely transform the Chaos Great Monarch Flame?" Yi Tianqian looked at Xiao Yan with his eyes full of melancholy and suddenly grinned. "Little guy, I wonder if you have tens of thousands of supreme saints." Xiao Yan was stunned for a long time before he said, "Elder Yi, you must be joking. This kid is just a 3-Dao sovereign. How could it be an ultimate saint expert?" Yi Tianqian smiled. "Then do you have the strength to defeat me?" Xiao Yan's expression changed slightly. Immediately he waved his hand and said, "How can this kid have such powerful strength?" Yi Tianqian's smile became even brighter. "Since you are not a supreme saint and do not have the strength to defeat me, how can you doubt me? It's just a Monarch Flame, ranked 32nd on the Monarch Flame ranking. Isn't it easy to convert it? Moreover, Xiaolong has also said that your Chaos Great Monarch Flame is too weak and unsuitable for its cultivation. Therefore, even if you don't say it, I will still help you." After listening to Yi Tianqian's last few words, Xiao Yan's nervous heart relaxed a little. Yi Tianqian's question just now almost made his heart beat fast. He really thought that he had offended this ultimate saint expert. But it turned out that it was just a slap on Yi Tianqian's pride. Looking at the frightened Xiao Yan, Yi Tianqian smiled proudly. He had been lonely for tens of thousands of years. Now, with great difficulty, a little guy who looked pleasing to the eye had finally come in. He could take advantage of the last minute to have some fun. Ignoring Xiao Yan's resentful gaze, Yi Tianqian casually tossed the Chaos Great Monarch Flame into the sky. He lazily stretched out a finger and pointed at the Chaos Great Monarch Flame. In an instant, the clouds and clouds in the sky changed. A strong storm was stirred up. The Chaos Great Monarch Flame slowly stopped in midair and slowly turned into a fiery lotus in the storm. The fire lotus remained unmoved in the fierce wind. Very quickly, the flower bud in the center of the fire lotus quietly bloomed and released a column of fire that pierced through the blue sky. Suddenly, the wind and clouds in the sky stopped moving. In the next moment, strands of fiery rain started to float around the column of fire. Just as Yi Tianqian was about to move on to the next step, he suddenly felt something. His deep eyes instantly looked towards the center of the fire lotus in the middle of a flower bud. There was a small ball of pure red flame that was slowly burning. This was the source of the Chaos Great Monarch Flame. Around this small cluster of flames, a nearly transparent lightning thread was quietly floating. The lightning thread looked like a small lightning dragon. Under Yi Tianqian's gaze, the small lightning thread had nowhere to hide. It turned into a small lightning dragon and trembled under the former's gaze. It let out a weak dragon cry. With Xiaoyan's weak strength, he naturally could not sense it. But Yi Tianqian could hear it clearly. This little lightning dragon's aura is exactly the same as the source of the 3,000 lightning monarch flames. Yi Tianqian's eyes flashed. It was as if he was thinking of something. After a moment, he looked at the little lightning dragon with a slightly shocked expression. After that, he shifted his gaze away from the little lightning dragon and left Yi Tianqian's sight. The little lightning dragon instantly disappeared as if it had been granted amnesty. At this moment, the fire lotus qi in the sky had completely erupted. A sea of fire burned crazily on the fire lotus, causing the storm's attack to collapse inch by inch and finally vanish into nothingness. Yi Tianqian smiled and squinted his eyes. In an instant, a majestic soul force surged into the fire lotus from all directions under Xiaoyan's senses. Xiaoyan's face turned pale when he sensed this soul force that caused his heart to tremble. Compared to this soul, the soul emperor soul that he was so proud of couldn't even withstand a single blow. His soul entered the fire lotus, and in the next moment, Hong Long, the entire sky seemed to be burning up, and it was pierced through by the intense rays of light. Xiaoyan subconsciously closed his eyes, but Yi Tianqian just chuckled. He moved his right hand's 5 fingers as if he was drawing something. Very quickly, the light was extinguished. The storm also retreated quickly. Xiaoyan immediately opened his eyes and looked at the sky. He saw a crystal-clear fire lotus spinning slowly in the sky. At this moment, the fire lotus had no temperature at all. It was as if the fire lotus had completed a sublimation. It was untainted by the mud and was as pure as ice and jade. It was slender and elegant. The flame on the fire lotus had become much more restrained. But Xiaoyan could feel the tremendous power contained within the fire lotus. After sizing up the transformed fire lotus, Yi Tianqian nodded his head in satisfaction. With a wave of his hand, the fire lotus appeared in his hand. He glanced at Xiaoyan, who was staring at the fire lotus in his hand with fervent eyes. Yi Tianqian flicked his finger, and the fire lotus flew towards Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan caught it and looked at him. The fire lotus slowly turned into a Xiao Yi. Currently, the appearance of the Xiao Yi did not change much, but its temperament had changed greatly, as if it had become one with the great world. It did not feel awkward at all. The former's strength shocked Xiaoyan even more. At this moment, even he could not clearly see the strength of the Xiao Yi. He estimated that it had at least reached the level of 5 or more sovereign warriors. The fire spirit of the Chaos Great Monarch Flame is only at the level of 9 sovereign warriors. It won't be very useful against enemies, but if you are powerful and can control it skillfully, even stronger opponents will suffer a great loss. Xiaoyan nodded in agreement after hearing Yi Tianqian's words. The first flame he got was the green lotus core flame. As his strength increased, the heavenly flame he obtained also became stronger and stronger. However, the green lotus core flame still possessed an extremely powerful strength under his control. It could even injure a Dou Sheng. Hence, although this Chaos Great Monarch Flame was only a 9 Dao sovereign, it currently appeared very powerful. However, it would ultimately be left behind by him. However, the Chaos Great Monarch Flame that he would use with his strength in the future would still be a powerful trump card. Oh, right after you came to the Great World. Did anything unusual happen to the Chaos Great Monarch Flame? Yi Tianqian suddenly asked. Xiao Yan came back to his senses and told him about the Xiao Yi devouring the 9 profound golden thunder. After listening to Xiao Yan's words, Yi Tianqian couldn't help but frown deeply. His eyes revealed a thoughtful expression. Seeing Yi Tianqian's expression, Xiao Yan's heart couldn't help but tremble. It seemed like this fallen ultimate saint expert knew a little about it. After a long time, Yi Tianqian finally came back to his senses. He looked directly into Xiao Yan's eyes and said, "What cultivation technique are you cultivating now?" Xiao Yan was startled for a moment, and then he didn't hesitate at all. The origin monarch qi in his body surged, accompanied by the metallic sound of the origin chains. The majestic origin monarch qi condensed into an image in the air, and the meridians on the image crisscrossed. It was the diagram of the human body's meridians. Immediately after, the meridians that were not connected to each other turned red. It was extremely eye-catching. After finishing all of this, Xiao Yan looked at Yi Tianqian and said, "Elder Yi, this is the cultivation technique of this kid." With Yi Tianqian's strength, he could clearly see the circulation route of the burning spell with just a single glance. When he saw it clearly, a rare, serious expression emerged on Yi Tianqian's face. He had heard from Xiao Yan that the burning spell had evolved automatically after he arrived in the Great World. This was something he had never heard of before. Even a sacred item like the Chaos Great Monarch Flame had to undergo a thorough transformation before it could be fully integrated into the Great World. However, this cultivation technique was merely something from the lower realm. How could it have such an ability? Could it be that this thing was originally related to the Great World? Yi Tianqian couldn't help but be startled when this thought appeared in his mind. He looked at the image in the sky with an even weirder expression. The Chaos Great Monarch Flame was split from one of the 12 most powerful sacred items of the Great World, the Monarch Flame. It was still reasonable for a trace of the fire source to descend to the lower realm after hundreds of millions of years. However, according to his knowledge, this strange cultivation technique did not exist among the 12 sacred items. However, if it was not a sacred item, how could it be automatically transformed? Yi Tianqian thought for a long time, but could not come up with any clues. Seeing Xiao Yan's expectant look, Yi Tianqian blushed and said something that made Xiao Yan speechless. "You pervert!" Xiao Yan could not help but laugh dryly. He did not know what to say. "Although this world is boundless, I admit that I can't recognize everything. But you are just a puny imperial warrior and a little guy who ascended from the lower realm. Why do you have so many strange things on you?" Yi Tianqian did not have the demeanor of an ultimate saint expert at all. He gritted his teeth and said, Looking at the map of the meridians in the sky, Xiao Yan's heart was filled with endless shock. Even with Yi Tianqian's knowledge and experience, he didn't know about the burning spell. And judging from the tone of the latter, this must be something from the Great World, so there were only 2 possibilities. The first was that it was an ordinary stall. It was normal that Yi Tianqian couldn't recognize it. However, a sacred object like the Chaos Great Monarch Flame could only be transformed with the help of humans, while the burning spell could be transformed automatically. Just this point alone determined that it was not something to be trifled with. There was only a second possibility. Xiao Yan took a deep breath and looked into Yi Tianqian's eyes. The latter was also looking at him. Before Xiao Yan could say anything, Yi Tianqian's voice, which carried a trace of shock, echoed in this world. "Little thing, your technique might be even more mysterious than the 12 sacred items." Gulp. Yi Tianqian said what he was thinking in his heart. Xiao Yan unconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It seemed like there really was a possibility. After Yi Tianqian said those words, he looked at the map of meridians in the sky and felt that it was more and more similar. It was a long time before he finally let out a soft sigh. He gave Xiao Yan a strange look. This brat was really strange. If this cultivation technique was really something that was even stronger than the 12 sacred items in the legends, then the future would be limitless. If the news were to spread, Perhaps even those legendary profound realm seniors wouldn't be able to resist taking action. Clearing his throat, Yi Tianchen said, "This is only a guess, even if it's just a guess. Your cultivation technique is really that kind of legendary holy object. With your current pitiful strength, you aren't qualified to dig it out. So forget about it for the time being." After a pause, Yi Tianchen said with a serious expression, "According to what you said, because of the burning spell, you can absorb more flames when you are in the lower realm. But looking at the current situation, your Chaos Great Monarch Flame is creating 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flame. Create." Xiao was startled and looked at the Chaos Great Monarch Flame in his hand. The latter's rank on the Monarch Flame ranking was far inferior to the 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flames. How could it be created? It's because of the 9 profound golden thunder. A light flashed in Xiao mind as he opened his mouth and spoke. "That's right." Yi Tianchen nodded. "If my guess is correct, your Chaos Great Monarch Flame has a devouring ability because of the special ability of the burning spell. The 9 profound golden thunder should be formed from the source of the 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flames. After the Chaos Great Monarch Flame has devoured it, it should be able to create 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flames after a period of time." These words sounded ridiculous. Even though they came from Yi Tianchen's mouth, Xiao still found it hard to believe. What was this? If that was the case, wouldn't he be able to easily collect all 36 types of Monarch Flames? As if he could see Xiao astonishment, Yi Tianchen snorted lightly and said, "Brat, don't be delusional. The prerequisite for the Chaos Great Monarch Flame to be able to create other Monarch Flames is to first devour the fire source of those Monarch Flames. But now, other than the 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flames, can you also find the fire source of the other Monarch Flames?" Yi Tianchen's words were like a bucket of cold water that instantly extinguished Xiao surging passion. Xiao dryly laughed. He also threw this unrealistic idea to the back of his mind. Indeed, with his current strength, it was already lucky enough for him to possess the Chaos Great Monarch Flame. People should know their own limitations. The principle of biting off more than you can chew had long been hidden in Xiao heart. However, Yi Tianchen looked at the Xiao Yi in Xiao hand with a profound gaze and said, "According to my estimation, if the Chaos Great Monarch Flame can successfully create the 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flame, there will definitely be an intense battle between the two of them. At that time you might be affected as well. But with your strength of 3 sovereign warriors, I don't think you can handle it. Look at the degree of the 9 profound golden thunder. In a year at most, it will turn into 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flames. In these 5 months, you have to try your best to increase your strength to deal with the danger of the Monarch Flame merging." Xiao was startled in his heart, and then he solemnly nodded. With Yi Tianchen's identity, there was no reason for him to lie to him. Moreover, the fusion of the Monarch Flames was something that could be imagined with one's toe. The process would definitely be filled with danger. As the master of the Chaos Great Monarch Flame, it was absolutely impossible for him to stay out of this. It seemed like it was urgent to increase his strength during this period of time. Pausing for a moment, Yi Tianchen laughed at himself. "Actually, after saying so much, I still have my own selfish motives. The stronger the Chaos Great Monarch Flame is, the more beneficial it will be to the little dragon's recovery." Xiao smiled calmly when he heard that. "Yi Yun, old man, please don't say that. The stronger the Chaos Great Monarch Flame is, the better it is for a kid. You have helped this brat so much. This brat is truly grateful to you from the bottom of his heart." Yi Tianchen twitched his mouth and said, "This little guy's strength is not good, but his mouth skills are not bad." Haha. Although he said that Yi Tianchen's heart, which had been lonely for 10,000 years, was still slightly moved. With his experience, he could naturally hear the deep gratitude in Xiao tone. Before he died, he was also a great figure who was proud of the wind and clouds. The strength of a supreme saint allowed him to run amok in all domains, and his skill in alchemy had reached the acme of perfection. There were very few people who could compare with him, but it also caused him to be extremely arrogant. He had offended many experts of the same level, and although they were afraid of his status as an alchemy saint master, they did not dare to openly oppose him. They still welcomed him with a smile, but when he was targeted by that organization, furthermore, when two of the saints were sent to intercept him and the little dragon in Forest Domain, none of the ultimate saint expert helped him in the end. In the past 10,000 years, he had been furious. He had been aggrieved and had reflected on himself countless times. As his consciousness gradually dissipated, he also saw through everything, from the initial arrogance to a peaceful heart. 10,000 years passed, and a trace of loneliness appeared in his peaceful heart. What Xiao had done, and the help he had given the egg, had made Yi Tianqian feel grateful and delighted at the same time. One more thing. You will have no problem staying in this illusion realm for the whole year, right? Xiao heart started beating violently when he heard this. What did it mean to stay with a saint when he was still alive? There was no need to think about this problem. Xiao took a deep breath and tried his best to calm himself down. His voice was trembling because of his excitement. No problem. This year, this kid can calm down and improve his strength. Yi Tianqian smiled playfully and looked at Xiao with a playful look in his eyes. You can still calm down and cultivate during this year. What kind of joke is this? You are the last little guy I have ever met in my life. If I don't torture you properly, I will be letting down this opportunity. Thinking of this, Yi Tianqian's eyes suddenly lit up. He smiled at Xiao who was immersed in excitement, and said, "Little guy, this illusion realm of mine will disappear in about 4 years. When that happens, I will die completely. This illusion is different from the time in the outside world. 3 years in the outside world is equivalent to 1 year in the inside world. If you are fine, how about you spend these 4 years to the fullest?" Ha ha. Xiao heart, which had calmed down a little once again, began to beat violently because of these words. His rapid breathing caused the origin monarch qi in his body to become a bit disordered, and the origin chains seemed to be singing softly. "Thank you, Elder Yi, for your love. That kid will shamelessly agree." Even though Xiao used to be proud of the wind and clouds and smile at the end of the world, he still couldn't react in time to this sudden huge temptation. He had to hold it in for a long time before he could say this. Yi Tianqian smiled disapprovingly. What he did, a large part of his selfishness was also included. After all, the Chaos Great Monarch Flame was just an extremely weak Monarch Flame. Even if it was fused with the 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flames, it wouldn't be any better. However, the little dragon was once a Xianxia holy beast. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to recover in a year's time. So Yi Tianqian decided to let Xiao wait until the illusion realm was destroyed before he could leave. The 4 years in this illusion realm was merely a year in the outside world, although it might reduce the time of the trial by a year. But if he could receive a single instruction from Yi Tianqian, it would be better than a few years of trial alone. And this way, 3 more years of trial time would be equal to nothing. Even without Yi Tianqian's guidance, 3 years was more than enough for him to improve a lot. Based on this thought, Xiao agreed without hesitation. It's settled then. You should cultivate well during this period of time. Increasing your strength as soon as possible will be a great help to the Chaos Great Monarch Flame merging with the ARDA 3,000 Lightning Monarch Flame. Yi Tianqian paused for a moment. He waved his sleeve, causing Xiao storage ring to tremble uncontrollably. After that, 6 fire pillars appeared around Xiao. There was a drop of red demonic blood slowly swimming about. Don't waste such a good thing. This thing seems to be used to refine a low-grade medicine pill, but with your soul and strength, you are not qualified to do so. The blood in this pillar contains extremely powerful fire element energy, which is suitable for you. Using this can speed up your cultivation. As he spoke, Yi Tianqian flicked his finger. Following the cracking sound of the stone pillar, the 6 drops of blood slowly dispersed and were absorbed by the 6 jade bottles formed from origin monarch qi. Swoosh! A jade bottle flew towards Xiao. Xiao eyebrows twitched. He grabbed the jade bottle that was rushing towards him. I have already gotten rid of the violent energy inside. This pure fire energy is enough for you to advance to the fourth sovereign realm. Advancing earlier, hehe. When that happens, it'll be fun. Without waiting for Xiaoyan to hear the last part, Yi Tianchen waved his white robe. Xiaoyan disappeared. Swoosh! A sound of wind breaking was heard. In the next moment, Xiaoyan appeared out of thin air. Before the former could react, he heard a furious roar coming from the side. Then, with a flash in front of his eyes, a black shadow pounced on him. Xiaoyan's expression remained unchanged. The origin monarch qi in his body instantly surged, causing the origin chains to make a rustling sound. At the same time, Xiaoyan's fist collided with the black shadow's head. Ooh! Xiaoyan could not help but cry out in pain. He quickly glanced at the slightly red fist, then looked at the black shadow in front of him. The black figure was a wolf-shaped devil beast, but it was the strength of a sovereign. It was instantly sent flying when it received Xiaoyan's fierce punch. It wailed continuously along the way, and its body heavily smashed onto the ground like a sandbag. The black wolf whimpered a few times, then straightened its 4 legs and did not move at all. Once the black wolf died, Xiaoyan, who did not have time to relax, immediately heard the furious roars around him. He instinctively raised his head, and when he saw the hundreds of black wolves in the surrounding valley, his expression changed. It took him a long time to squeeze out a few words from his mouth. The Supreme Saint is even more abnormal. On the square, Yi Tianchen was leisurely sitting cross-legged. He was sipping a pot of fragrant tea that had somehow changed. He seemed to be able to hear Xiaoyan's words in the distance. He smiled and took a sip of the tea. He smacked his lips as if he had not had enough, and then mumbled, "It seems that only the abnormal fellows can obtain the legacy of the Supreme Saint." Lightly and gently, these words were quickly dispersed by the gentle breeze. The sky was still as blue as before.